Well, what about the NFL 100?
Okay, you know what? Yes.
I liked it. Did you consider that a commercial?
It was more
like a promotion for the game, but
exactly.
I thought it was great, though. I did.
To see, all the great players. And speaking of great players, we had the NFL honors, and we saw Patrick. And congratulations to the New England Patriots on your hard-earned season. Now to the NFL honors, we saw Mahomes win not only the MVP, which he deserved for the season he had, but Offensive Player of the Year, the Air Player of the Year by FedEx. We saw Saquon Barkley win the Ground Player of the Year and the Offensive Rookie of the Year. We saw. Of course, Chris Long taking home the Walter Payton Man of the Year award for the work that he does overseas, helping people get access to clean drinking water. And the fact that he didn't take a dime of his own money last year and helped other people get scholarships to go to college and help inner city people. He truly is a man. Like, that is a man right there to me. And Chris Long is such a good person. And then, I'm sorry, the Hall of Fame, what did you think of the members that were inducted?
Well, we knew right off the bat it was going to be Tony Gonzalez, Ed Reed, and Champ Bailey. So they're in. There's no debate there. I know a lot of people. Congratulations on your Jet. Yep, I was going to say Kevin Mawai. Long time center with the Jets, although he played with 2 other teams as well.
Titans and the
Seahawks, I believe. 16-year career. I believe he made 8 Pro Bowls. And I checked, of all the centers that are in the Hall of Fame, I believe he has 241 games played. Only Mike Webster has more at 245. So, again, a center that is the linchpin of your team that plays 16 games a year, guts it out, goes to 8 Pro Bowls. That's big, So I think it was about time he got in. I probably would have voted him in about 2 years ago when he was a finalist. So I'm happy about that. Ty Law is the one that's, as far as the ones that got in, we'll talk about the ones who didn't get in a second, but Ty Law is the one that got in where I look at his numbers, and it's like they're good. And, I think he's went to half a dozen Pro Bowls, so they're good. But I think what got him in, though, more than anything else is his playoff numbers. His playoff numbers off the chart.
Super Bowl 36.
Off the chart. Yeah, Super Bowl 36, who I thought he should have won the MVP in Super Bowl 36. I mean, Tom Brady won that MVP. He led the game-winning drive for the field goal. But Ty Law had the pick 6 that made the Patriots go up 7-3. And again, this is against the greatest show on turf, the 2001 Rams. He gets the touchdown. They go up 7-3. They don't give up the lead the rest of the game. So we talk about how defense wins championships. He led that defense. So I thought he probably should have won the MVP in that game. And then I just researched just those playoff games in that first sort of dynasty run of the Patriots where they won 3 of the 4 years. I believe he averaged an interception per game. Yep. So he's one of those players again. He's really, really good in the regular season. The playoffs, he's a different beast. He's a different animal. He's like a Terrell Davis was, to the running back position in the playoffs. So I think he deserves to get in.
Oh yeah, for sure. The person I still am advocating, I will keep advocating until he gets in. Don Coryell. I'm gonna keep saying his name and ad nauseum.
I think you're going to be saying that a long time now. I don't think he. Again, I appreciate your opinion as far as him being a revolutionary, but I think the voters are looking at the fact that he never really seemed to win that big game. I remember watching that game in Cincinnati, that AFC championship game, and the Bengals ended up, I think it was 81, and they ended up going on to lose to Joe Montana and the 49ers. The Chargers, had that game been at home, maybe the Chargers win that game, and then maybe they give the 49ers, a run for their money. Great offenses. I did like to watch those teams, but I just think it's just numbers I think aren't there. The guy that I thought, again, I advocated for last week, I changed my mind on him, was Isaac Bruce. Because, again, you look at his career, he never led the league basically in anything, and he did compile everything. But if you're going to compile, he compiled 15,000 yards. He compiled, I think he's 13th all time in receptions or something like that. And the 12 receivers that are ahead of him, they're all in. So he was a guy that, again, normally we use the word compiling as like a bad thing. But I
him
think
and
in
Torrey
this
Holt were
case,
great
I
together.
think in this case, he, to be able to compile in the NFL and stay healthy all those years deserves something for that. So, but again, he's not in. But the guy now, and then Edgerrin James, of course, everyone is still advocating why isn't James in. Again, he's another guy where the running backs that are ahead of him are all in, with the exception of Frank Gore, who's still playing.
Or Steve Atwater, another guy that didn't even get in as well. Or even Richard Seymour, too, who didn't even...
Well, there is a process where I think they have to eliminate. I think they go from 15, they eliminate down to 10, and they eliminate to 5. So, again, it's not that maybe that the writers didn't want to put them in. They just probably couldn't put them in on this ballot this year. So, the...
offensive lineman like Tony
Johnny Robinson, though, have you pulled up his numbers? I mean, that's a guy that was a long time coming. He deserved to get into the Hall of Fame because he was
nasty.
He was phenomenal for the Chiefs way back in Super Bowl III and stuff. He had some great seasons, and he played a little offense too. So it was good to see an old timer get in.
Oh yeah, and Gil Brandt too. I think very deserving of him in the contributors portion of the Hall. I definitely want to see next year. I think Troy Polamalu is probably going to get in first ballot because he's going to be a safety. I expect him and Steve Atwater. I think they're going to be two safeties next year.
Yeah.
And I think Tony Baselli will get in next year.
He's another one. I think he's on that cusp. He was great for a while, but with him, it might just be that he hadn't played long enough. I mean, I think he only had about 7 years in his career. I did look at the numbers ahead because I think Isaac Bruce, I'm going to go back to Isaac Bruce. Isaac Bruce not getting in, I think, is bad news for a guy who you're going to be shocked. You're going to say, I can't believe you're saying this, Sean. It's bad news for Frank Gore. Because Frank Gore may very well end up. Well, listen, he may very well end up number 3 all time in rushing. He's got an outside shot of getting there.
He's going to play next year,
right? So he needs, I think, about 600 yards to get to Sanders. I don't know if he gets there, but right now he's 4th all time. But you look at his career, he compiled it. Definitely. He never led the league in rushing. He's got 9,000 yards season, but he never led the league in rushing. Never led the league in touchdowns. He has these career numbers, but never outstanding. So he's kind of the running back version of Isaac Bruce. And again, I would put him in, but I don't know. If they don't put Bruce in, I think it hurts his case as well.
Definitely. Well, congratulations to all the members that made it watch in August when the NFL Network broadcast this momentous occasion and hearing all the speeches. So congratulations to the members. Now we have the off season. And here are, I think, the top storylines to keep your eyes out for 2019, the 100th bicentennial season or centennial season. Instant replay with pass interference. Yay or nay?
I think it's one of those things that it might be about time to do it. And like I'll say what Jason said last week too. I've always been a firm believer, in not taking out the human element in the game. But, like you saw, I mean, are we really going to be extending the games that much longer? I mean, you could even say if you sort of come to a compromise and say, all right, we'll do it within the last 2 minutes. Again, I don't know if you want to do it the entire game, but again, it's something that's probably about time to use.
And the other argument will be is how long are we going to now make the game now that we put pass interference? And then also, how about we add this instant replay? Right. So it could do some good, but it also could open the floodgates.
Well, like I said, you're going to have to come up with some sort of compromise. If you say, well, you're allowed to review non-calls, because this is ultimately what we're talking about. You're allowed to review non-calls. There has to be some sort of compromise where maybe it's within the last 2 minutes, and of course it's maybe you got to have a challenge to do it. If you ran out of challenges now, so even though you're adding to the end of the game, a coach that might have thrown a challenge flag earlier in the game might really want to save that challenge now. So you're eliminating that challenge. So the game may not go on that much longer. We could also shorten the games by just getting rid of kickoffs too.
That's what the Alliance American Football is doing, by the way, which starting tomorrow. So keep your eyes on that new 8-league team, which there are no kickoffs. In fact, drive start at the 25-yard line. Bill Polian, one of the people, co-founders of the league, basically, and as well as Ebersol too, who basically said that it eliminates basically the amount of injuries that could possibly take place.
It might be the most, an NFL kickoff might be the most violent play in professional sports. It really, you have players that are running 4-4, 4-3 down the field, full speed, and another player running the other way. It's been a long time since I've been in a physics class, but that the amount of force there is unbelievable. And the kickers nowadays, they're all kicking them deep. Most of them are touchbacks anyway. So the NFL is purposely designing the kickoff to go into the end zone, so they want to avoid these injuries and avoid the concussions. So why not just take the next step and just put the ball in the 25? I agree. And to me, it's still mind-boggling to this day when I watch the Super Bowl and there's a punt. And who's returning the punt? Julian Edelman. So your number one receiver is returning the punt. Pittsburgh Steelers do it with Hines Ward. The New Orleans Saints use Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara is my fantasy keeper pick next year. I don't want him returning kicks. I don't want that guy getting concussed. So I don't understand why teams do that. Just get your number 3 or number 4 receiver, anyone who can run a 4-3 and have them return it. Why are you using your best player, on offense to return and possibly get hurt?
Definitely. And not only that, they're also there's no extra points anymore allowed. Everything has to be a 2-point conversion. And in the Lions American Football, which is a new league that's with 8 teams started, or 4 teams in the Eastern, 4 in the Western. It's a 10-week season, and it'll end April 27th in Las Vegas for Lions Bowl 1, as they're calling it. Yeah. So it's a whole new league. They're having players from the NFL, from the Canadian Football League, and college football, and some recognizable players like Trent Richardson is playing with Birmingham.
Right.
You have Aaron Murray playing. You have Matt Asiata, who was a running back at one point with the Vikings. He is going to be in the league. So there are a lot of recognizable names from the NFL that are playing this league that are getting a second chance. Even Christian Hackenberg from Penn State.
Oh, no. You didn't go there.
Yeah.
You mentioned Christian Hackenberg.
Yeah.
You as a Jet fan.
I know. Believe me.
Mentioned Christian Hackenberg.
Yeah.
You really wish you wanted that pick back, right?
Believe me.
Because we're going to segue into the draft anyway, so it was...
But and some of the other storylines, like Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, their relationship with the Steelers. Brown, done. Not even repairable at all. So right there, he's going to be going somewhere else. Le'Veon Bell, we're hearing that they're going to franchise tag him and then possibly trade him somewhere else. Because after all, they know he's not going to sign it. He didn't sign last year. Then the other story is Cam Newton, his shoulder. That's what plagued him the last few weeks. Definitely something to keep your eyes on. Kyler Murray, yay or nay, football, baseball. Football.
Make a decision already. I know what I would have decided, but
yep.
I'm not Kyler Murray or his agent, but I know what I would decide. Some interesting notes on, you mentioned Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown, NFL is investigating an alleged domestic violence incident that occurred in January. It doesn't appear that there's much there from the initial reports that I read. But we know how the NFL drags their feet on these investigations. I don't have to go too far with Ezekiel Elliott for the Cowboys. Yeah. And again, that was dragged out. Ezekiel Elliott ended up serving a 6-game suspension. He was never charged with anything. So even though Antonio Brown may not have done anything with what happened in the offseason this year with Kareem Hunt, that being on video, and the NFL had a very, very bad look there. So the Shield is going to want to probably do their due diligence on this one. So this is just another thing that is hanging over the head of the Pittsburgh Steelers in trying to move Antonio Brown, because you don't want to invest, a high draft pick if you're going to trade for him and then have this pop up, rear its ugly head. Yeah. As far as Le'Veon Bell, yes, they offered the transition tag of him. Le'Veon Bell, it wasn't too long ago, last summer, where he turned down a 5-year deal for $70 million and the first $30 million over the first 2 years. He turned that down. He's not getting that this year. I mean, we know that well, that a running back who's 27 years old.
My team is going to sign him.
How much do you really want to pay for him?
I
know you have about $100 million under the cap, which we're going to talk about anyway for the people that aren't familiar. If you allow me, just really, really quick.
Sure.
I know a lot of fans out there, in the offseason, they're like, why did my team do this? Why did my team do that? Let's sign this player. Let's sign this player. And a lot of people, unless you're a real economic numbers geek like myself, these terms are foreign to you. But there's a difference between a franchise tag and a transition tag. We'll go through really quick. The franchise tag, there's two types. There's exclusive and non-exclusive. An exclusive franchise tag means they tag your player to team. Yep. They take the average of the top 5 salaries in that position or 20% over his salary. That's what he gets. And if it's exclusive, he can't talk to anybody else. You got him. Yep. Then there's the non-exclusive franchise tag. Same thing. Top 5 salaries. He gets the average of that. But he is allowed to talk to other teams. And a lot of teams like to use this one because if he talks to your team and you sign him, I have the option to match. Or I could say, hey, you can keep him. You give me 2 first-round picks. So a lot of teams like to exercise that. And then there's the transition tag, which is what Pittsburgh was going to use on Le'Veon Bell. And that's the top 10 salaries in the position. So you get him for a little cheaper because you're using the average of 10 salaries. But there's no compensation. So if he goes and signs with another team, you lose out on everything. So just when you see that come up when you're reading about your favorite team, what teams are doing, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to negotiate this salary cap, which is, they got to jump through hula hoops, and that's what makes what the Patriots have done over the last 2 decades utterly amazing because they have been able to negotiate a hard salary cap in an era where there's 32 teams and free agency. You can't hold players for too long, except Brady and Belichick and spare parts.
Yep, and that's why it doesn't matter. There's an old Tupac song. My friends. I think if it goes correctly, my friends come and go, but my soldiers stay eternal. And I think that definitely applies with the Patriots because coaches, coordinators, players have come and gone, but Brady and Belichick have been eternal these past 20 years. You're never going to have anything like this in our lifetimes ever again. This is basically they are from a bygone era.
And the New England Patriots are like the American Pickers. It's like the garbage men. Like whatever you throw out the curb, we're gonna take it. We're gonna take it. Like, you don't like Wes Welker? Miami don't want. We'll take it. We'll make him a borderline Hall of Fame receiver. They take whatever you don't like and they bring him in, and for the most part, it works. It really does. You don't want Chris Hogan? Buffalo don't want him.
Yeah.
We're going to take him.
Indianapolis, you don't want Philip Dorsett?
Yeah.
We'll take him.
Yeah, we'll take Philip.
Tennessee, you don't like Cordero Patterson or Minnesota? We'll take him as well.
Yeah, it's utterly amazing how they're able to do it.
Oh, yeah.
So getting to your Jets, and you got about $100 million to spend.
Yeah. We need a
is there a if you're GM for the day for the Jets, is there a breaking point with Bell at 27, like where you absolutely wouldn't go?
I would not go any more than 4 years. 4 years is my limit.
It does bring him to 31.
Yep.
So,
I would do that, but I would also, if with incentives too, and I would try to put at least a 30 million guaranteed on a $70 million contract, right, at least to protect us from having to pay him too much money for, God forbid, right, if he gets injured. While at the same time, if he can produce what he did 2 years ago, then we look like geniuses in the long run. But how much that 95? Because we have only projectedly right now $95 million in cap space to spend at the moment. So if you're the Jets, definitely him. They also need to invest in an offensive line and some players in the defense. Otherwise, I think this Jets team is settled. For the Giants, on the other hand, they definitely have, I think, most of the offense. They just need to put some pieces on the O-line, but I think overall they have the team in place.
The problem with the Giants, though, and is the cap figures. It really is at the end of the day, because they are $27 million, which is not a lot of cap space. And remember, they gave Odell Beckham a tremendous contract, and Eli Manning, I think, still counts about $23 million to the cap, which is why Eli Manning went into the office with David Gettleman. Just about a month or two ago, when the season ended, they brought him because Gettleman's probably begging him, like, can we restructure your deal to try to make this more favorable against the cap? The problem with the Giants is going to be what they do in this draft, because I know half of my friends that are Giant fans say, let's go for the quarterback. But we're going to talk about really who's out there at 6th overall. Unless you're going to, Haskins maybe from Ohio State. I don't know if you want to take
or Drew Lock out of Missouri.
Drew Lock, but I don't think he pegs in the first round. I think the Giants might be able to get him in the second round and go for one of the linemen. This draft seems to be very deep on the offensive side and the defensive side along the line. Pass rushers. So I would not be shocked if the Giants, who only had 30 sacks last year. And granted, Olivier Vernon only played 11 games, but he also only had like 7.5 sacks. And Olivier Vernon hasn't had a double-digit sack season since his second year in the league when he was with Miami. So do the Giants go for Josh Allen from Kentucky, who is
or Sean Gary?
Gary. Nick Bosa, you have up there. I have him up there high on my board too. And then you have Quinnen Williams from Alabama. The problem with him is he's an interior lineman. I think the Giants need an edge rusher there. I also the Giants, could get a little creative there and trade. But they could also trade the pick back maybe a little bit and go for like a Cleveland Ferrell somewhere around the 9-10 spot. Because if you watch that and the national title game, definitely. Alabama Clemson is about maybe 10 guys total, five on each team that were on the starting line that are going to be first-round picks. It's amazing.
I know this draft definitely has a great array of pass rushers to look forward to. And how about some of the stories like the Raiders not having a place, the head coaches that we're going to be seeing next year? I think my favorite to look forward to in terms of the 8 coaches, I am actually looking forward to Vic Fangio with the Denver Broncos. Finally, he got his opportunity. And Brian Flores, the second straight defensive coach from the Patriots to be a head coach. Let's see what he can do with Miami. And Adam Gase, I'm going to be praying for you and seeing hopefully that you can.
He's a quarterback whisperer.
Yeah.
Adam Gase.
Yeah, if he can do that with our quarterback at Darnold, hey, all credit to you in the world if you can manage that one. But Cliff Kingsbury with the team with the number 1 pick, Arizona Cardinals.
We're going through the first round. You got a prediction on him? I'm going with Nick Bosa to the Cardinals. Let's go Josh Allen to the 49ers.
It'd be too
Unless, how about this? Who plays Kingmaker in this draft?
I think, honestly, the Raiders.
Absolutely. I was about to say that. And Chucky. Gruden has 3 first-round picks because he picked up the one from the Cowboys, which, by the way, Jerry Jones, I think you need to sit down and let other people run the show. However, Jerry Jones made one good move this year, and that was trading for Amari Cooper, because when you look back on that, Dallas gave up their first-round pick. That first-round pick is now 27th or 28th, I think.
Yeah, 28th.
28th in the first round. Where at the time when he made the pick, and Dallas was 3-4, and the season looked like it was spinning out of control, you were like, we're getting Amari Cooper, but we're going to give up a mid-round pick. Now we're giving up a 27th overall pick. There's no receiver in this class that you're going to get 27th overall that's got the talent of Amari Cooper, and Amari Cooper's only 23. The problem with the Cowboys, though, like I said, with the offseason, is the cap numbers. And the Dallas Cowboys, I believe, are $46 million under
45
the cap.
right now.
45 to $46 million under the cap, but you got to extend Cooper. You got to think about Elliott. You got to think about Dak Prescott. You got to extend. Dallas is a very young team. That's the good news. The bad news is they're a very young team, and all these players are coming up on their contract extensions. Oh, we didn't mention DeMarcus Lawrence, who played on a franchise tag last year. You got to try to extend him too.
Oh, yeah, he's probably the number 1 free agent. And in terms of the number of the free agents out there too, like Grady Jarrett is going to be a big free agent out there. D Ford from the Kansas City Chiefs. If you're the Chiefs, you want to keep him on that line, absolutely, especially the way they played together.
Well, you want to keep him on that line. Like, you want to keep him on that line, but you want him on side.
Yeah.
On that line.
Yeah, not offside.
D Ford, stay on the line, but on this side of the line. Yeah. Because they would have been in the Super Bowl.
And Frank Clark, Earl Thomas is going to be interesting because I think he's going to go to San Francisco and join his buddy Richard Sherman on a 1 or 2 year deal. Imagine and plus, they are familiar with each other. I think they would work well. And plus, just as a straight up diss to Pete Carroll and the Seahawks, they would be satisfied to run roughshod all over his team.
Right.
Just playing for that other team, as they probably like to refer them to. Just like Ohio State, Michigan. They say that other team.
That other team.
That's that kind of relationship. But also to keep your eye out on too, Joe Flacco. I think that we've seen the last of him with the Ravens. I expect him to go to the Washington Redskins, considering Alex Smith is not playing. His leg is not going to heal anytime soon.
He's never going to play again. In my opinion, he's not playing again.
And now it's only a short drive down the on the Beltway. So right there, wouldn't it be nice just to get back at them at some point?
Do they? I'm trying to think that those divisions. played each other this year, because the NFC East this year played the South Division in the AFC. So they're either going to play the East, the West, or the North. But it would be interesting if the Ravens did play, if this is what happens.
Yeah, I think it will. I think this is the likely team, or possibly the Miami Dolphins, because these are some quarterback needy teams. Even the Denver Broncos, because I heard today their quarterback, Case Keenum right now is a little, like oh geez, I don't know what's gonna happen with me. So that's something to keep your eye out on.
But but we're talking about this, and again, in any other year we would say Joe Flacco, we would be talking about Nick Foles, but it's because this draft is not that deep at quarterback. And next year's draft. But do you want? I mean, listen, everybody wants Tua Tagovailoa from Alabama, or the year after that, Lawrence from Clemson,
or
right?
Jake Fromm from Georgia.
But you have to stink to get those quarterbacks. You have to be 2-14 to get Tua. So, a team like the Giants that missed out last year on a quarterback, they're going to be looking at possibly a Nick Foles. And again, I have Giant fans. I have Giant friends that fans, and they like, I want Nick Foles. I'm like, do you want him? He just turned down $20 million. He paid $2 million to avoid the $20 million option, which means you're going north of 20. You're going to Eli Manning territory for a quarterback that, honestly, in his career, outside of the two magical playoff runs, has not really done much.
He's going Jacksonville.
I think he is too. And Jacksonville, I think, has a big interest in him. But I don't see where that is. I mean, at this point, the Giants might as well go another year with Eli. Definitely. Try to improve the offense and defensive line, and wait till next year's draft, maybe even trade up to get one of the quarterbacks that are coming out next year.
Definitely. And for a lot of the teams, I think next year also is going to be the story. Will this be the year somebody other than the Patriots gets to the Super Bowl in the AFC? That's what everybody will always keep their eyes on, and the Patriots will always have that chip on their shoulders, though everybody's against them. So what, fans? In a little bit of reverse psychology, the entire nation love Tom Brady. Love him. I mean, love him to the point where you can't take it, and really do some reverse psychology. Maybe then he'll be like, why does everybody love me? I'm supposed to be hated by everybody. Yeah. Well, I know that probably will not work either.
But they I love when they play that whole we're the underdog thing. No one thought you would. Everyone I spoke to said the Patriots are the favorite until they get eliminated. That was pretty much, even when they were struggling at the beginning of the year. Everyone said, because we've seen this story. We've seen this unfold time and time again, where the Patriots, they appear down and out and they just keep coming back. So, I don't know how that worked out, we're the underdog and stuff. Come on.
I don't know.
But you're the underdog. You just won your 6th title.
Yeah, and you tied.
Brady's on his 2nd finger with his rings. Exactly. I love the commercial. Hold these. in the 100 commercial, hold these.
I like even some of the people getting knocked on the table. But, just this coming season, the fact that it's the 100th season of the NFL, it's really remarkable to think of the longevity of this league and all the things that have happened in its great history, and some of the moments that we've seen, the players that have made the league what it is today. So I think it's going to be a great celebration of the past, the present, and we have a good future of players. Like, for instance, Patrick Mahomes. He is the future of the NFL. He's the next Tom Brady for sure. The way he can play the ball. Or the same thing with Todd Gurley. He definitely, when healthy, he's going to definitely be a big part of that future too. And look for Saquon Barkley. He could be the next I think he's the next Barry Sanders, if anything.
I do too. I mean, there's a reason why he won Rookie of the Year. You forgot another rookie Baker Mayfield.
Who basically
who took an 0-16 team to 7-8-1 this year and had him on the doorstep of the playoffs. And that's a team that, it's scary how good their draft was last year. And I wasn't particularly fond of it on draft night last year, but man, every pick panned out. I mean, it really, Baker Mayfield, Ward, Chubb, they really hit it out of the ballpark. So I can't believe we're saying that. I can't believe we're sitting here and we're talking about the expectations being high for the Cleveland Browns next year, but they are.
Yeah, the Cleveland Browns and this whole believe me, there's so much to talk, but you know what? We only have so little time, but I just want to say on that note, I want to thank all the hardworking men, women at CTV doing what they do best, especially Kenneth Grant behind the booth for this entire season. Thank you so much for your hard work. For the audience at home, for letting us bring football into your living rooms, thank you so much for supporting the show. For my co-hosts like Corey Valdez, Jamie Hickson, Jason Van Hare, and Sean Danis.
Thank you.
For doing what you guys do best as well. I'm Eric Rosen. We'll see you Friday, September 6th for Season 8 of the Blitz Zone here on CTV. Good night.
Good night.
Peace and love. Peace and love. Woo!
That was good. We did it. We did it again.
I'm sorry if I might have jumped over you once.
No, I knew you were on that.